Cave art emerged around 300,000 years ago and is considered the earliest form of human expression. The remaining traces include animal drawings, painted handprints, and abstract motifs on rock surfaces. These markings appeared in a context where there was no language, no writing, and no agriculture. Archaeological sites such as Lascaux, France, Altamira, Spain, and Sulawesi, Indonesia, have provided physical evidence of the long-standing existence of this form of expression. The paintings at these sites primarily depict bison, wild horses, deer, human handprints, and numerous unidentified symbols. They were created using organic materials such as ochre, charcoal, blood, and animal fat, sometimes diluted with water or urine to enhance adhesion. A notable feature is the durability of these works. Despite exposure to climate change, humidity, and microorganisms, many paintings have survived tens of thousands of years in relatively intact condition. This indicates that the creative process was not random, but involved deliberate technical and material choices. From an anthropological perspective, a major question arises: who created these works? For a long time, the prevailing assumption was that only Homo sapiens, modern humans, had the capacity for symbolic art. However, recent findings in Spain reveal paintings dated to around 65,000 years ago, which predates the arrival of Homo sapiens in Europe. This suggests that Neanderthals, another branch of ancient humans, were also capable of creating art and engaging in abstract representation. In addition, cave sites in Indonesia feature hand stencils and animal figures dated to over 45,000 years ago, indicating that artistic activity was not limited to Europe, but was a global phenomenon. These discoveries demonstrate that artistic behavior resulted from a shared cognitive evolution across multiple human lineages, independent of complex civilizations or social systems. The emergence of art predates written language by at least 250,000 years. It also came before structured speech and may have served as one of the earliest forms of communication, using imagery to transmit information, memory, belief, or spatial mapping. Some scholars suggest that cave art functioned as a method for humans to document environmental knowledge, such as animal migration, water sources, or weather patterns. From an evolutionary perspective, the creation of symbolic imagery reflects the development of imagination, nonverbal memory storage, and cooperative behavior within social groups. These are three foundational traits that gave humans an advantage over other primates. In conclusion, cave art is not a byproduct of civilization, but a critical milestone in the evolution of human cognition. It marks a leap from instinctive behavior to symbolic thinking, from biological survival to abstract reasoning. Each painting stands as evidence of humanity's unique ability to preserve memory and transmit ideas across generations. Part 2. Mastering the techniques, the tools, and processes of ancient artists. Prehistoric artists used natural materials to create color. They sourced red ochre, charcoal, iron oxide or manganese-rich minerals, dried blood, and animal fat. These pigments were ground into fine powder using stone or bone, then mixed with solvents such as water, urine, or fat to increase adhesion when applied to rock surfaces. Their color-mixing techniques relied on natural physical properties and chemical reactions. Iron oxide produced red, manganese yielded black or purple, and clay offered yellow or brown hues. Animal fat acted as a binding agent, allowing pigments to stick firmly and resist flaking over time. The mixture could be heated or air-dried to adjust thickness and improve adherence. Drawing tools were primitive yet varied. Fingers were the most common tools, especially for large-scale images. Additionally, they used sharpened branches, animal hair tied to wooden sticks as brushes, sharp stones for engraving, and hollow bones as blowpipes, employed in the hand stencil technique. In this method, the artist placed a hand against the cave wall and blew pigment around it, leaving a negative imprint. The paintings were not random, but showed clear compositional intent. Artists selected flat, smooth surfaces deep inside caves, locations less exposed to environmental degradation. Some images even utilized natural rock contours to enhance three-dimensional effects, such as emphasizing the head or muscles of animals. The level of detail in these paintings is high. Depictions of animals often include accurate posture, behavior, direction of movement, and anatomical features such as neck tendons, hind limbs, horns, or manes. This demonstrates not only careful observation and bodily awareness, but also strong visual memory. There is no evidence of preliminary sketches, suggesting that the images were executed from memory without models. Many artworks were created using artificial lighting. Prehistoric people used stone oil lamps with carved basins filled with animal fat and burning wicks to illuminate their work areas. The dim and flickering light created a dynamic viewing experience, what some scholars refer to as proto-cinematic art. It's possible that some paintings were intended to be seen only in the presence of firelight. Layered painting was common. In certain caves, newer images were drawn over older ones, sometimes within the same thematic group, e.g., overlapping bison, or with completely different content. This phenomenon may reflect generational continuity or repeated ritual use. Some cave sites contain artwork produced over a span of more than 20,000 years, suggesting long-term use of the same wall surface. In addition to painting, some ancient artists used engraving techniques. With sharp stones or hardened bones, they carved directly into the rock to produce lines or motifs. Some pieces combine engraving with painting, which increases durability and makes the artwork stand out in low light. They had no formal training, written manuals, or documented methods. All skills were transmitted orally or learned by imitation from previous generations. However, the technical consistency across distant regions suggests the existence of an informal standard maintained across generations. Conclusion. Prehistoric artistic techniques were the result of practical adaptation, resource optimization, and direct creativity. Without modern tools, they produced works that demonstrate technical control, intentional composition, and remarkable longevity. Clear evidence of advanced cognitive abilities and manual skill among early humans. Part 3. Decoding the symbols, unraveling the meaning and purpose. Symbols in cave art include depictions of animals, human figures, handprints, and abstract signs such as zigzag lines, dots, spirals, and lattice patterns. These symbols are found across diverse geographic regions, from Europe to Southeast Asia and Africa. They share common formal and structural characteristics, despite differences in habitat and historical period. Some researchers suggest that animal images represent hunting activity. Drawings of bison, wild horses, moose, and red deer may serve as visual records of target species, herd size, or migratory behavior. Based on the composition, animal placement, and direction of movement, some images are interpreted as tactical hunting maps or visual documentation of previous hunts. A second hypothesis posits that these artworks had ritual purposes. The choice of animals was likely symbolic, related to early belief systems or proto-religions. Some images show repetitive sequences or are accompanied by signs of burning or charcoal, suggesting use in seasonal rituals, ancestral offerings, or spiritual invocations of animal spirits. In many cases, the artworks are located deep inside caves, spaces unsuitable for daily living, reinforcing their ceremonial function. Another analytical approach focuses on abstract signs. Non-representational symbols like dot sequences, angular lines, and spirals are thought to encode non-verbal information. Some scholars consider them precursors to writing systems or symbolic record-keeping. This hypothesis is supported by the consistency of these motifs across multiple sites and time periods throughout prehistory. Some caves also preserve collaborative works, with multiple layers of overlapping drawings created using different techniques and colors. This indicates that art was not solely an individual act, but could be a communal activity involving many participants within the same event or across generations. Some handprints are small, indicating the involvement of children in the creation process. The early use of symbols marks a fundamental distinction between humans and other primates. While animals communicate through sound, behavior, or scent, humans developed a system of fixed visual representation, not constrained by space or time. This was a critical turning point in cognitive evolution, allowing for the transmission of complex, abstract, and long-lasting information. Symbols also played a role in constructing social memory. Images may have served as tools to help the community retain collective knowledge, such as migration patterns, hunting routes, food sources, or environmental warnings. Additionally, the drawings could function as storytelling devices, conveying events or shaping group identity through shared motifs. In the absence of writing, recording tools, or formal information systems, cave art served as the sole memory technology. Symbols functioned as cultural data, encoding and transmitting essential information related to the environment, society, and spiritual life. In summary, cave art is not merely decorative imagery. It represents a structured system of symbols with specific purposes: communication, memory, and the organization of knowledge. The use of symbolic representation reflects the capacity for abstraction, conceptual thought, and the development of culture independently of spoken language. This stands as evidence of a cognitive shift from instinctive reaction to conceptual reasoning, a uniquely human trait. Part 4. The Lasting Legacy: Ancient Cave Paintings in Modern Times. Cave art continues to influence modern art and culture. 20th century artists such as Pablo Picasso, Joan Miro, and Jean Dubuffet directly cited prehistoric art as a source of inspiration for its instinctive, primal forms of expression, unfiltered by rational conventions. The simple lines, direct symbolism, and lack of perspective in cave paintings align closely with the styles of abstract and surrealist movements. After visiting the Lascaux cave, Pablo Picasso stated, "We have invented nothing. They did it all." This remark acknowledged the structural and expressive achievements of prehistoric art. Some contemporary artists have revived the hand stencil technique or recreated animal figures following traditional cave compositions in their exhibitions. Beyond painting, the imagery and motifs of cave art appear in graphic design, fashion, animation, and visual arts. Designers often draw from primitive line work, ochre and charcoal-based color palettes, or abstract signs derived from ancient caves to produce work that reflects a sense of symbolic heritage. In preservation, caves like Chauvet, France, Altamira, Spain, and Sulawesi, Indonesia, are designated as World Heritage Sites and are strictly protected. Because paintings are sensitive to microorganisms, humidity, and temperature, public access is limited. Instead, highly accurate one-to-one replicas are constructed for tourism and educational purposes. Current restoration methods include 3D laser scanning, digital surface modeling of cave interiors, and chemical pigment analysis using Raman spectroscopy or X-ray fluorescence. These data enable the creation of digital reconstructions, restoration of color details, temporal layer identification, and tracking of artistic techniques. New technologies also allow researchers to detect tool marks and sequencing of application, helping reconstruct the full creative process. Some studies also apply artificial intelligence models to classify symbols, identify recurring patterns, and compare designs across geographical regions. This work contributes to mapping potential cultural connections among ancient communities through shared iconography and symbolic systems. In education, cave art is integrated into history, art, and anthropology curricula. Textbooks cover techniques, content, and the social context of the artworks. Some universities offer specialized courses in prehistoric art, including hands-on workshops using replica tools to improve experiential learning. In museums, reconstructed artworks are displayed alongside interactive models, virtual reality, VR experiences, and videos that decode artistic methods. Recreating the cave environment allows viewers to better understand the physical conditions and creative settings of the prehistoric era. Additionally, cave art features in documentaries, video games, and popular cultural products. Images of red handprints, bison, or dot grids frequently appear as symbols of ancient memory or human heritage in various media contexts. In summary, cave art is not confined to archaeological interest. It has become a subject of interdisciplinary research, a source of aesthetic inspiration, and a global cultural symbol. The preservation and study of these ancient images serve not only to archive the past, but also to deepen our understanding of the evolution of visual thinking, collective memory, and human identity. Part 5: A Journey Through Time. The significance of ancient cave paintings. Cave art represents the earliest visual record of the development of human cognition and expressive capability. These drawings appear at archaeological sites across Europe, Asia, and Africa, dating from 30,000 to over 300,000 years ago. They provide physical evidence that humans have used imagery as a tool for storing and transmitting information from a very early stage. Despite their rudimentary nature, the techniques used were visually effective and physically durable. The use of organic and inorganic pigments mixed with animal fat helped the colors adhere strongly to rock surfaces. The choice of painting surfaces, their location within caves, and the deliberate composition of images indicate that the artists had practical knowledge and aesthetic intuition. Some drawings even exploited natural rock contours to create three-dimensional effects, enhancing visual expression. The symbols within these paintings reflect an ability to conceptualize information and convert real-world experiences into structured visual forms. This indicates the emergence of symbolic thinking, an important cognitive milestone. The recurrence of motifs, such as hands, animals, and abstract signs, points to a conscious sense of identity and collective memory. Cave art served as the foundation for nonverbal communication systems. Before spoken language or writing existed, imagery played a central role in knowledge preservation and memory retention. The drawings functioned as communal memory tools, documenting hunting routes, terrain features, spiritual beliefs, and rituals. The social function of prehistoric art went beyond information transmission. The placement of artworks deep within caves, areas not used for everyday activities, suggests a role in ritual organization, worship, or territorial marking. Some evidence also shows that multiple individuals participated in the creation of art in shared spaces, indicating communal function and collective coordination. Cave art also reflects the evolution of brain structure. The ability to reconstruct images from memory, select compositions, control tools, and coordinate hand-eye movements demonstrates the development of the frontal lobe and motor neural systems. These capabilities underpin higher-order cognitive functions such as planning, mental simulation, and symbolic creation. In the broader context of cultural history, cave art laid the groundwork for later expressive systems. Structured language, written symbols, music, dance, and theater. All modern artistic forms descend from the capacity to simulate reality and build symbolic worlds, first demonstrated in these early drawings. The value of ancient art does not lie in its literal content, but in its symbolic function. A handprint is not merely a biological mark, it is a declaration of presence. An animal figure is not just a natural representation. It is a meaningful structure encoding belief, knowledge, and purpose. To understand a cave art is to trace the architecture of human thought. From this, we can identify fixed elements in the cognitive system, a tendency to conceptualize, organize imagery, remember symbols, and simulate reality using nonverbal media. In conclusion, cave art is original evidence of humanity's intrinsic creative capacity. It is not a cultural byproduct, but a structural marker of how humans remember, communicate, and construct worldviews. Each painting is a unit of information, both concrete and abstract, that proves a fully developed cognitive system existed very early in the course of human evolution.